Okay, so here's chapter 5, problem 72. Talks about three forces acting on a particle that moves with unchanging velocity. It gives us a velocity vector, and it tells us what two of the forces are, and it wants us to find out what the third force is. So the first clue that we can use is the velocity is unchanging, which means that it is a constant, maybe a nicer word for it. And when the velocity is constant, that means there is no acceleration. So let me write that down. Okay. So when the velocity is constant, there is zero acceleration. And well, what is force? Force, in its most simple definition, is mass times acceleration. But if acceleration is zero, then that's just zero. And that must mean that the force is also zero. So really, what we're going to do to find this third force is recognize that because the sum of all the forces acting on this particle have to equal zero, what we're first going to do is we're going to add up these first two forces that were given, and then the third force just has to be whatever will make the resulting sum zero. So I'll add the first two that I have here. So F1 plus F2 is going to be, in the x direction, we have 1.6 plus negative 4.6, which is negative 3 newtons. And the y direction, 3.4 and 3.7, 7.1 newtons, the j hat. And then in the z direction, there's minus 1.2 and minus 1.8, and that is just minus 3 newtons. So that's the sum of two of the forces that we have. And so now the next thing we're going to just do is say that F1 plus F2 plus F3 is going to be equal to 0. And we already know what F1 plus F2 is, because that's right here. So really, it's just asking us, what do we have to add to F1 plus F2 to get zero force in all three directions? And you should just look at that and go, okay, well, let's see, if I take negative 3 newtons and I add 3 newtons, I get 0 newtons. If I take 7.1 newtons and I subtract 7.1 newtons, that's 0 newtons. And if I have negative 3 newtons over here, and I add 3 newtons, well, 0 newtons. So that means that these are the x, y, and z components of the third force. So that makes F3 equal to 3 newtons in the I direction plus minus 7.1 newtons there, plus 3 newtons in the k-hat direction. And that's all there is to it. So hope that's helpful. And there you go.